Geylang, synonymous with vice activities and notorious lorongs. As the only legal red light district in Singapore, most people immediately associate their neighbourhood with negative connotations when they hear the word Geylang. There's so much more to Geylang than its debauchery. Geylang is also an area filled with rich cultural heritage, a foodie haven, and a place for worship for many devout believers, making it a vibrant neighbourhood. Despite all this, many homebuyers tend to avoid this place. But is Geylang really a bad place to stay? There is a stigma attached to the word Geylang. But have you ever wondered, why is Geylang the demarcated area for Singapore's red light district? To find the answer, we have to retrace the history of Geylang. We invited Chris Ng, formerly known as Uncle Chris, who conducts an explicit tour of Geylang's red light district.
Going back to the 1800s, immigrants start coming in. Most of them who left their home country are men. They arrive here, they find job. No ladies came, prostitution would have started then. So if you look back into the history of Geylang, it was a farmland. They were into lemongrass. You know, Geylang Serai, the lemongrass was exported as far as America. And then in 1937-38, George Lee started Happy World. It focused on adult entertainment. They had a lot of what we call striptease, a lot of boxing, a lot of wrestling, all this kind. From then on, Geylang had the reputation. And I remember I saw big brothels in a big colonial house. That continued until when we became part of Malaya. Then we became Malaysia. And then from there, it became what it is today.
Geylang wasn't the first red light district in Singapore. The government's pragmatic approach to prostitution led to the decision to legalise such activities, enabling closer supervision rather than pushing them completely underground. This resulted in Geylang being the only legal place for sexual services in Singapore. So why is there a need to regulate prostitution? Why don't we just ban it completely?
This industry is a necessity. You know, there are some countries you can just buy sex. In other words, brothels are illegal. But in Singapore, many foreigners, they are sort of surprised that they know that we are a very strict country. We are very well behaved. We are very clean cut. But yes, you can walk into a sex shop and buy anything. Yeah, so it's a little bit of a irony to them. But I said, we decided, our government, at that time, the first committee, we call them the first generation, right? They decided that, should we ban brothels? Thankfully, they did not. So this is what we are. So I think with that, we have much, not that there isn't, but much lesser syndicates working underground. It's better to have them working on the surface where you can sort of, jaga them.
We took part in Uncle Chris's red light district walking tour and got to experience the hidden side of Geylang. Besides hearing stories about the red light district, we were shocked to see several pill peddlers openly selling a wide variety of illegal sex enhancement pills. It's evident that there's still vice activities happening all over Geylang, and I totally get why home buyers tend to avoid this infamous neighbourhood. Despite this reputation, there are also homeowners that have lived in Geylang for most of their lives. This is Jeffrey Ng. He is a third-generation owner of Ng Tiang Huat and has lived in a two-story shophouse in Geylang for several decades. He is also affectionately known to us as the Geylang Superstar.
Don't call me a Geylang Superstar lah. You know, people might mistaken. Initially, when I lived here, my family lived here. 3 very young daughters, and then you heard about the notorious part of Geylang, the red light, the gangsters and all that. But actually, if you really stay here, it's not that bad that you, as a young girl, you walk out of streets, then you get teased, then people chase after you. No, it's not that at all. So as my 3 daughters grown up, teenager, well, sometimes they come back in the middle of the night. You know, I have those uncles who lived here, and they told me the next day, hey, your daughters came back 2 a.m, you know. Yeah, but don't worry, it's safe. It's not that bad as how people visualize or think that, wow, Geylang is so bad that the moment you step in, you get robbed, you get all kinds of bad things happen to you. It's not that anymore. It's not that. In the past, the back lanes were all dark, but then later on, the back lanes were all lighted up, and then they install CCTV. Okay, that is a very good thing, I would say. Just like my lorong here and the back lanes, if you count, I think there are easily 10 cameras. The other good point is that no liquor after 10:30. So the coffee shops, now they are not so rowdy, not so noisy. It's quite peaceful. It's quite peaceful. The whole area is transformed with some of the historical and traditional venues are still intact. To me, it's good. Yes, red light is one thing, but from my understanding, it's just a small portion. It's a controlled area. You know, there are some very popular eateries where after midnight, I can hear little children, their parents bring them here to eat. I don't have the idea of moving out of this shop house. You know, once you step out of the door, you walk around here, it's full of activities. You don't get tired with Geylang. I know there are some shop houses in certain area, very peaceful, very quiet, but don't have that spirit. I'd say like, yeah, Geylang, there's all this, the environment it suits me. It suits me. You want the quiet part? Yes, it's quite quiet, but at times it's quite noisy. But that's Geylang.
After hearing about Jeffrey's life in Geylang, it doesn't sound like a terrible place to live in. There's a peaceful side and a bustling side, making it a vibrant neighbourhood. Geylang is filled with both rich heritage and delicious food available around the clock. With attractive amenities around the neighbourhood, I wonder what housing demands are like in Geylang. We spoke to an agent about their experience transacting properties in Geylang and to deep dive into the facts and figures of Geylang properties throughout the years.
The rental in the area is actually very vibrant because it's near the city fringe. So for them, like they work in Shenton Way, CBD area, the location is actually very near. So there's a lot of expatriates, they actually shifted there. Recently, a few years back, this Paliba quarters came out because its a location is at the MRT station. So it's between Green Line and Circle Line. Geylang area become more on a demand. Reason because it's one of the hub in the area. There are quite a numbers of young Singaporeans, they actually looking in Geylang area because of the quantum and also because of the area is like we are near to Paliba quarters, you see. For SPR, they buy for own stay. But for Singaporean, most of them, they buy for investments. Because it's in the city fringe, you are actually buying a properties in the RCR for the OCR prices. And then comparing when they buy Geylang and they buy elsewhere, Geylang is actually the place where you can actually easily renting out your unit. I'm so proud to say that my units hardly got vacant period. Before, most of the banks, they were only loan to above lorong 28. Even numbers, odd numbers not affected. But recently, most of the banks, they actually lifted up this. So they are more open to all this. Yeah.
So now, to get a bank loan for property there, not very
it's not difficult. Because Geylang got lorong 2 to lorong 44. It's a long stretch of road. But it's not the whole Geylang is a bad road, you see. Yeah. So only there are 1 or 2 lorongs where they are more cluttered. In terms of cluttered, meaning they still holding the red light license. But these operators, they don't operate along the road, you see. When some people see that there's the place are a bit rowdy because there are some workers staying around the area. But in fact, when you walk around, all these people are there to work. They are not there to harm us, you see. Yeah, so it is pretty safe. I have tenants who stay in lorong 24. I asked their opinion about this. Because lorong 24 previously is illegal red light area. There are some girls standing on the streets, but after the COVID, no more already. I actually share with some of my tenants living there. They say it's safe. It doesn't matter because they are like you and me walking along the street. The streets, that's all. Yeah, so nothing to be fearful of, is it?
Geylang might have had a bad reputation in the past, but over the years, Surveillance has been increased in order to curb vice activities happening in the neighbourhood. Through this exploration, we've learned that there's so much more to Geylang than its seedy lorongs. It is a diamond that may be rough around the edges, but ultimately, it is a diamond, one that's filled with culture and heritage, that gives Geylang its unique character today. Given Geylang's city fringe status, who knows? One day, the area may be rejuvenated, adding to its vibrancy and further meeting housing demands.
Some of the pimps, they may not be very happy with tourists, and I know that I am not welcome, and but they don't do anything. The friendlier one would strike a conversation with me, and some of them will, even invite me and say, get your customers to come here after the tour. Yeah, so, and all this happened right in front of the customers.